Hi everyone, it's Tanis with H&H Sign Supply, and I'm so glad to join you again with the live video. We have had some requests to continue the live videos, so I'm going to try my best to start doing those on a bi-weekly basis. And we've had a customer ask us to show them the fantasy film. If you've not used the fantasy film before, then you are missing out because it is absolutely beautiful. And today I'm going to show you the wide variety of those films, and then we're going to do a little bunny project at the end. So here's kind of a sneak peek of what we're going to do at the end of the video. But I am going to show you the best I can each pattern and color. Now there are a few that are on back order, so we're not able to show you, but I think that's only like maybe 3 or 4. And then also I want to announce that we are working on a fantasy film color ring. Those should be available in the next week or 2. And so we're very excited about that. We are working very hard to get you a decent color ring for you to use. These fantasy films are very popular, especially this time of year. People often use those for race cars, and I've seen people wrap drums with them, and I've also seen them put them on cups and decals. It is rated 5 years. However, some colors do fade faster than that in direct sunlight, such as your fluorescents, and some of them will fade much faster if they are in the direct sun, such as on the hood of a car or on the back glass. So keep that in mind. But if you've not used these before, I definitely recommend that you give them a try. We're talking about fantasy films. There are a big variety of what we kind of categorize in fantasy film, but really there's only 5 patterns that is considered fantasy film. And when we say fantasy film, that means that it is holographic, it changes colors. But sometimes you will have just the regular chrome, the brushed metals will be in that category. That's kind of a generic name for it, but really those aren't considered fantasy film. So what we're talking about today is the ones that change colors that are holographic. And I'm going to kind of show them right quickly here, and then I'm going to lay them out on the table and flip my screen so that everybody can see them and tell you what color they are. And I'm doing that in detail because the customer that asked me to do this video, he said that there's so many films that he wants to purchase, but he's not sure what the color looks like or what the pattern looks like. So that's why I'm going to kind of go into detail today for you. So first off, I'm just going to pick a color, or actually pick a pattern. For instance, this one is called Oil Slick, and the base of it is silver, but it changes colors. And for instance, here is the red in the Oil Slick. It doesn't change colors as much until you get it out in the sun or in the perfect lighting. Then we've got Crystal. So basically this is chrome, but with a rainbow effect. Then we have Crystal. This one is often called Cracked Ice or Confetti. And it's actually one of my favorites. I think it's really pretty, but it's not as popular as some of these other ones. The Oil Slick is definitely one of the #1 sellers, especially the silver. And then we have Mosaic. This is 1/4-inch squares, little tiny, it looks like a kaleidoscope actually, but little tiny squares. Then we have Sequins. This is a lot like glitter, but the specs are larger. So this one here is glitter. This is the black glitter, and this is the sequins. So the specs on the glitter is a lot finer, and oftentimes if we're out of the glitter, people will get the sequins in its place because it's still a glittery, but it's much larger flakes. So with that, I'm going to flop my screen so that you guys can see the table. I'm going to lay these out and kind of tell you what the colors are. So give me just a moment. We're gonna start back with the oil slick. This one is red, and this, I'm gonna try to give you a good video if I can, but it's really hard. This is red and silver, pink, which we often call rose gold, black. Black is very popular. It looks very black, but once you get it out in the sun, you can tell that it has changed. I would say with the oil slick, the two most popular ones is silver and gold. This one is violet. It's like a light purple. Teal, which is my favorite. Then we have fluorescent orange. Fluorescent pink. Fluorescent green. Sky blue. Fluorescent yellow. And amethyst. One more that we have that we kind of group in with the oil slick, which isn't really oil slick, but it kind of is called Aurora Polish. And it's kind of got a pearl look to it. I think this is called red-green Aurora Polish, but it's kind of a whitish pearl. And we kind of categorize that into the oil slick. I think there's only one color missing from this, and that is royal blue. I've also seen people call them maybe mermaid films. There's a few other names. We call them oil slick. That also, some manufacturers might call it bright overall. I know that I've seen a few names for these. So, by far one of our most popular ones. We just expanded the color options on these a few years ago, and if there's ever a color that you would like to request, then all you have to do is just give us a call and we will see about adding that. Now I'm just going to show you the colors of the crystal. This is royal blue crystal, purple. Now the purple, there's violet, purple, and amethyst. Purple is more like a raspberry pinkish purple. And then you have the amethyst, which this is an amethyst. I'm not trying to throw you off here, but that's an amethyst. So a lot of times when people call and say they want a purple, I'm like, well, do you want purple, or do you, the color purple, which is this, or do you want actually purple, which would be amethyst? I know that's a little confusing, and that's why it's helpful to do this video. And that would be helpful for us to do the color chart. And then we have the violet, which is a lighter purple. So not to confuse things, but I think that's really, it's really hard to see here. It's really good that we're coming out with this color chart and that I'm showing you this. So when we say purple, the manufacturer calls it purple, but it's really more of a pinkish raspberry kind of purple. And then going back to the crystal, didn't mean to off track there. We've got silver, orange, and green, emerald green. The only one missing from this one is cherry red. And like I said, this is one of my favorites. I think we also have white in this as well. But one of my favorites, often called confetti or cracked ice. Then we've got Mosaic. I would say this one would be a little less popular, but still a lot of people like this for their race cars. We've got silver, emerald green, red, or cherry red. This would be the purple, which is that raspberry-ish purple, orange, and royal blue. So in these fantasy films, if it's red, then it's going to be the same color across all patterns. So the red Mosaic, the red Sequins, the red Glitter, all of those are the same color red. With all of the colors, if it's the same color name, then it's the same color. So you don't have to worry about the colors changing with the patterns. It's basically the patterns that change with the colors. We're going to do sequins next. This is Amethyst and Teal, Fluorescent Green, Cherry Red, Violet, Fluorescent Pink. Now, this one, a few of them have a transparent, and I'm going to show you the transparent in my project that we're going to do at the end of this video. So this one is transparent. It's actually clear. You can kind of see that there, but it looks white glitter because it's on that white backing. But this one is transparent. We've got black, or often called gunmetal. Sometimes you'll see it on there as gunmetal, or sometimes you'll see it black, but it's like that really dark graphite or kind of a blackish. Orange, pink or rose gold. I think we call this rose gold. It's just a really light pink. Gold, emerald green, silver. This one is the white. It's kind of hard to see the flake, but it's this one is white. And purple, which is that raspberry-ish, pinkish purple color. That is the Sequins pattern. And you can find all of these on the site under specialty films, and then holographic and specialty. And then I think you click on fantasy film. I'll try to put the link in there when I'm finished with the video. The next will be the glitter. We have the most offerings, I would say, in the glitter. And we're gonna start with violet, black or gunmetal, silver, purple, emerald green, gold, orange, fluorescent pink, red or cherry red. This one, we actually have a raspberry pink. I think that the manufacturer calls it raspberry, but we call it raspberry pink. So when you look at these two together, this is the only pattern that has the raspberry pink and the purple. So this one is the purple on the left, the raspberry pink on top. They're very similar. Kind of confusing. We have amethyst, which is kind of what I would call a true purple. Sky blue, transparent, fluorescent orange, royal blue, white, bronze. This is the only pattern that we have the bronze, teal, and rose gold. So like I said, most of these are in stock. This is the peak season for these films just because so many people are getting their race cars ready. It's probably the most popular film for the race cars. But we also have people, like I said before, use them to wrap drums and to do other things. I'm going to flip back over here. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it the way it is because we're going to start on this this project here. So I get these boards from Hobby Lobby. The price on it is $9.99. I've had it for a really long time. And I probably used a coupon on it, but I think Hobby Lobby has done away with their coupons. But you can still catch those on sale. We are going to take this board, and it is actually called, whenever you look down here, you want to make sure that you get the versatile ultra smooth finish. If you don't get the ultra smooth finish, then the vinyl is going to have a hard time sticking to it. So if you're putting vinyl on it, make sure that you do the ultra smooth finish. We actually are going to take these bunnies, and put them on the board. But first we are going to cover the board with the transparent glitter. And so it's going to make the board the glitter. And then we are going to put the black on top and then lay the bunnies on top and put some little bunny tails. Let me make sure there's no questions before I go forward. Thanks everyone for watching. Hello, Curtis from Kansas. Thank you everyone for joining me today. It is great to be back in the saddle of doing videos again. I took a break because it can be kind of consuming. I felt like I was doing the same projects over and over, and so hopefully now I can get some fresh ideas. If you have any ideas of any of the items that we sell that you want me to do a video of, or even if you don't care if I do a project with it, maybe just do a quick video explaining it or showing colors, then let me know. You can call and ask to speak to me, or you can tell Brittany that answers the phone. You can even send an email through our website. And because I'm always wanting ideas, I don't want to do videos of things that people don't really care about learning. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this. I'm basically just going to peel it up from the corner and just lay it down. So there's a lot of different things you could use this, or reasons you could use the transparent clear. I can think of a lot, but this would be a good reason why you would want to use a transparent, so you can cover it. So I'm not really covering it with vinyl. I'm covering it with the transparent and letting the color show through from the back. So basically I'm just going to kind of adhere it to the edge here. Might be kind of hard to see because it's white on white. White on white on a white table. I probably should have thought that through. And then I'm going to peel the backing up. I'm actually going to turn it around because I am right-handed. So I can squeegee with my right hand. But as you see, I'm kind of holding it up and squeegeeing down as I go. Hopefully you guys can see that for the video. But just kind of squeegee down as you go. You don't really want to do, maybe I'll do it from this way. You don't really want to do a lot at a time because you want to try to keep bubbles. See, I got a little bit of bubble right there because I did it too fast. But you want to kind of just do a little bit at a time. You could do any color. I mean, you could cover this with any color, but I chose the clear because, or the transparent is what it's called, just so you guys can see what it was. So now, I wish I had a felt wrap squeegee, but I guess I misplaced it. So now I'm just going to go through and make sure that all of the bubbles are out. Just squeegee that down really good. You probably would want to use a felt wrap squeegee, or wrap your squeegee in a soft towel so it doesn't scratch the vinyl. But I don't know where my felt edge squeegee is. I thought it was in my basket. And then I'm going to take a sharp utility knife, and I'm just going to go around the edge. Just start on the edge and just go around and trim the edges. The key to this is just to make sure that your knife is sharp. A dull knife would make it very difficult. You could do the same concept, like if you were wanting to cover, let's say, a license plate for a car. Same thing, just squeegee your vinyl down, make sure there's no bubbles, and then trim around the edges. So that has made, it's probably super hard to see, but that has made this whiteboard now more of a white glitter. Now I'm going to take these black outlines of these bunnies, and I'm going to lay those down. But first I'm going to put the transfer tape on. This tape that I'm using is the R tape, the AT65, and it's very popular. I like paper myself, but I'm using the clear so you guys can see through it. It seems like people like the clear for smaller things and the paper for larger things. It also seems like our sign makers like the paper tape more than they like the clear. I think it just depends on the project you're doing. If you're doing wet or dry application, I mean, there's a lot of different uses for both. But for today, I'm going to use this clear, this R tape AT65. We sell it in a wide variety of sizes, including a 50 yard and a 100 yard. I'm going to get a little bit of squeegee on the back here. This black vinyl is just Aurora 651. You could use anything. You could use a matte finish if you'd rather have a matte. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to trim really close to these bunnies. And then I'm going to measure and make sure that these bunnies are centered on the board. If it was small, I would probably just eyeball it, but these are quite large, so I'm going to go ahead and cut close here. Then I'm going to take my ruler and center these up on my board. that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to lay a piece of thin transfer tape down, and I'm going to do the hinge method on this. I'm going to tape it down to the board, and then I'm going to peel one side, cut the backing. And one thing about this is if you want to make sure that you don't get any slithers or bad cuts or jagged cuts, because that could transfer to your vinyl and then you're going to have a big bump. So make sure that you have a smooth cut and don't cut too close to the edge. But I'm just going to lay this side down. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Peel the tape off. It's not very good. I've got some bubbles in it. Looks like I didn't squeegee it good enough. I'm getting in a hurry here. All right, I do have several bubbles, and it's probably because I laid that transparent down. Had I not laid that transparent down, I probably wouldn't be getting so many bubbles. Because in my experience, when you lay vinyl on vinyl and when you peel the tape up, it kind of lifts that first layer up a little bit and it causes bubbles. So keep that in mind whenever you are layering. But this is for educational purposes, and so it's best that you guys learn from my mistakes than make your own mistakes and waste your own vinyl. But I think you're going to get the idea of it. So on these, I don't have the tape on them already. I wanted to show you how they weed. These holographics here, they are metallized films, and so they're much thicker. They're not as soft as like a 651. When I cut them on the same cut settings as what I did the 651. But I do recommend that you do a test cut, because sometimes you might need to increase your pressure just a little bit. But this is weeding pretty easily. So make sure you always do a test cut. I used a Silhouette Cameo to cut these. But like I said, in my experience, just yesterday when I cut them, it was the same cut settings as what I used to cut that 651. I'm just going to lay this one. Actually, I'm going to trim off some of this so I don't have so much to handle. I would love to see some of the projects that you've done with some of these holographic fantasy films. They really are pretty, and there's so many different possibilities. with them. So I still have those bubbles. Now, in the real world, when you are applying graphics, you're going to get bubbles pretty often. Sometimes it's hard to avoid. The more you do it, the less bubbles you're going to get. And oftentimes, if you put it out in the sun is going to kind of heat that vinyl up and those bubbles are going to disappear. If you try to set it out in the sun and the bubbles don't disappear, you can poke a pinhole in it and release some of that air. And more times than not, that's going to work. Just be careful if you do that. You don't want to tear the vinyl. So you don't want to use an X-Acto. Well, shoot, I did not weed that. What am I doing here? Well, I think I'm going to be able to get it up anyway. You don't want to use like an X-Acto knife because you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to tear the vinyl. Jumping ahead of myself. See if I can get this out. You know, I didn't weed that first, but I have seen people do reverse weeding like that. It's not something that I think I would be comfortable doing, but I have seen people do it that way. So probably if I was to set this out in the sun, then most of these bubbles are going to go away. But I think the reason I have so many bubbles is, like I said, because I layered vinyl on vinyl. And had I let that vinyl kind of set up a little bit longer, I probably wouldn't have as much of an issue. And I'm just kind of doing this quickly and not really taking my time with it like I should. But I think you get the idea of what I'm doing here. I'm just ripping it off like I don't have a care. I am going to weed this one. That green one made me nervous. I'm not. Although I do have bubbles, I still want it to be finished. I think what I'll do is I will try to set this outside and let it warm up. And maybe snap a picture of before and then snap a picture after letting it set outside and just test it and see. And then if I have good results, then I'll post it on our page so we can see if the sun released some of these bubbles or not. Let me know if you can see this video okay. I feel like my lighting needs some improvement. I think the lighting situation here can definitely be improved. So let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me. This one got a little crooked. Now so this is fluorescent pink oil slick. This is turquoise or teal oil slick, and this is fluorescent green. Now for the tails, the bunny tails, they are Aurora Polish. That white, remember the white with the red and green polish. I call it kind of a pearl. And let me flip this around. Okay, so I've got a couple of questions. I'm gonna read through real quick and try to answer those before I jump off the video. Hi, Teresa. I see your orders come through, and I appreciate you ordering with us all the way from Oklahoma. For anyone that doesn't know, we are in Western Kentucky, and we just celebrated our 15-year anniversary of being in business. Would a lower tack transfer tape help with bubbles? Yes, it might. I've not really been comfortable with low tack. I'm not really, to be honest, experimented with it much, but you definitely could try that, and that would probably help. I think what's happening is, like I said, the vinyl doesn't have time to really set. It takes about 24 hours for a vinyl to really set up. So if you ever have something that the tape's not wanting to release, there's a couple of things that could happen. Either the tape is too tacky, the surface is not suitable for vinyl, because not all surfaces are suitable for vinyl. You could have cut into the backing of the vinyl, or that vinyl has not had time to set up. So if you ever have vinyl that is not wanting to release from the tape, you could always try to leave it there with the tape on for as many hours as you can, and then come back, because after time that vinyl kind of sets up. But I'm doing this really quickly, and I think the first layer has not had a chance to set up. So when I take that tape and I peel off, let's say the black on the bunnies, it's kind of lifting that vinyl up a little bit. And I think that's why I'm getting so many bubbles. Hi, Regina, I haven't seen you in a while. What was that made with? So this is all fantasy film. So I actually covered the board with the transparent glitter, and I really don't think you can see it very well. But there is a transparent glitter. And then the black is 651 Oracal. And then these bunnies are the Fantasy Film Oil Slick, and the bunny tails is the Aurora Polish. I am going to set this out in the sun, see if I can get some of these bubbles to come out. And I hope that this was very informative. I hope that you learned something. Give me some ideas on some videos, and hopefully I can keep this video trend going and I can produce some more. Thank you. I think it's very pretty. I think that the oil slick is one of my favorites, and these films are very beautiful, but they are different than your everyday intermediate vinyls. Those intermediates are a lot softer, and these fantasy films, like I said, they're metallized, so they're a little more rigid. They don't weed as easily. They don't, when you're cutting fine details, it's as if it doesn't, it's just a lot harder to deal with. Can't wait to order some fantasy films. Yes, Sherry, we have those on our site. They are 24 inches wide. You order by the continuous foot. You enter the amount of feet that you want. We send it to you in a continuous row. So the more you buy, the less it costs per foot. And also, there are some 5-packs, so you can get 5 colors and you'll get a little bit of a discount. On those 5 packs, it would be like a 12 by 24 sheet. So look for that because that can kind of give you a variety. And then we will be having those color rings come out probably within the next week or two. Of the colors that we don't have, we've got to try to get those, or see if we can't get our hands on at least a few of them. The color rings are going to be this big, and we're going to start with just the fantasy film, but then we hope to add like the chromes and the brushed metals and things like that. What did you cut it on? Do you mean like the cutter? I used the Silhouette Cameo. If that's what you're asking. And then this board is just a pre-finished board from Hobby Lobby, and it's got the smooth finish. Make sure that if you're getting these finished boards that it's the ultra smooth, because sometimes the other ones that say, I'm not sure what they say, maybe just smooth. The vinyl doesn't want to stick very good because it has just a little bit of a texture, but this one is ultra smooth. What setting for Cameo? Oh, just, so I have the Cameo 4, or even on my Cameo 3 or 2, I just use the same cut setting as what I did on the Oracal 651. But on my Cameo 4, the pre settings and the software, I always have to bump it up 1. So I think on the pre-done settings for the vinyl smooth, I think the blade is on a 1. I have to bump it up to a 2, and that's just my Cameo. Yours might be different, so whatever setting you would use to cut an outdoor like a 651, that's what I use to cut this fantasy film. But make sure that you do a test cut, because that all depends on your blade, how old it is, and your calibrations on your machine. And does anybody else have any more questions? I would love to stay on and answer any questions you may have, or if there's another color or another pattern that you would like to see, then I would be glad to pull that out and show you before I jump off of here. So if no one has any other questions, and if you have something after the fact, give us a call or send us a message, and we will try our best to respond to that. And thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We supply, you create.